Hello, and in this episode, I want to share with you, introduce to you an academic text called The Orthodox Corruption of Scripture, the Effect of Early Christological Controversies on the Text of the New Testament. This is by the textual critic Bart Ehrman, professor in the United States. And this is really a book written by a scholar for scholars, although we can read it for ourselves and enjoy it and learn from it. And I just want to read a little bit from it just to explain why he's written the book and give an example of the kind of corruption of Scripture, the New Testament, that he has uncovered. In the beginning of chapter 1, he writes, Christianity in the 2nd and 3rd centuries was in a remarkable state of flux. To be sure, at no point in its history has the religion constituted a monolith, but nowhere is this seen more clearly than in the realm of theology. In the 2nd and 3rd centuries there were, of course, Christians who believed in only one God. Others, however, claimed that there were two gods. Yet others subscribed to 30 or 365 or more. Some Christians accepted the Hebrew Scriptures as a revelation of the one true God, the sacred possession of all believers. Others claimed that the Scriptures had been inspired by an evil deity. Some Christians believed that God had created the world and was soon going to redeem it. Others said that God neither had created the world, nor had he ever had any dealings with it. Some Christians believed that Christ was somehow both a man and God. Others said that he was a man, but not God. Others claimed that he was God, but not a man. Others insisted that he was a man who had been temporarily inhabited by God. Some Christians believed that Christ's death had brought about the salvation of the world. Others claimed that his death had no bearing on salvation. Yet others alleged that he had never even died. Few of these variant theologies went uncontested, and the controversies that ensued impacted the surviving literature on virtually every level. The one level I will be concerned with in the present study involves the manuscripts of the evolving Christian scriptures, what would eventually be called the New Testament. The New Testament manuscripts were not produced impersonally by machines capable of flawless reproduction. They were copied by hand by living, breathing human beings who were deeply rooted in the conditions and controversies of their day. Did the scribes' polemical context influence the way they transcribed their sacred scriptures? The burden of the present study is that they did, that theological disputes, specifically disputes over Christology, prompted Christian scribes to alter the words of Scripture in order to make them more serviceable for the polemical task. Scribes modified their manuscripts to make them more patently orthodox and less susceptible to abuse by opponents of orthodoxy. So this just introduces Bart Ehrman's theme here, that there was a close relationship between the social history of early Christianity, with all its controversies and debates and conflicts, and the textual tradition of the emerging New Testament. And he examines how these struggles between so-called heretics and the Orthodox affected the transmission of these documents. Now, Bart Ehrman himself is considered the pioneer in connecting the history of the early church to the textual variants within the biblical manuscripts that we can still hear. And he invented the term proto-Orthodox Christianity. So I do recommend this book if you want a detailed survey of all the ways the text has been corrupted and changed to suit a particular agenda or other. I just want to give one example. You may know this, you may not, but in the King James Version, and it's found in the modern New King James Version, in 1 Timothy 3:16, this verse, by the way, I often see it at Speaker's Corner. It's a favourite of Christian missionaries who parade around the park, and it goes like this: Great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Spirit, seen by angels, preached among the Gentiles, believed on in the world, received up in glory. The key point there is, of course, is God was manifest in the flesh, 1 Timothy 3:16. Now, the problem with that is that it's, according to Bart Ehrman, this is just one example of many of textual corruptions of the manuscripts. And he offers his view on page 78 that the reading theos is a Greek word for God in that passage, cannot be original, is shown both by the character of the manuscript attestation. The earliest and superior manuscripts all support a different reading, and by the fact that ancient creedal fragments typically began precisely in this way, that is, with a relative pronoun. It didn't begin with the word God, it began with the pronoun. The change must have been made fairly early, at least during the 3rd century, given its widespread attestation from the 4th century on. It can therefore best be explained as an anti-adoptionistic corruption that stresses the deity of Christ. Now, there's a detailed examination of the grammar here to explain what he means by that. By anti-adoptionistic, he obviously means the very early Christian view that Christ wasn't God in the flesh, that he wasn't the eternal divine being, that God adopted him, say, at his baptism. We see that in Mark's Gospel. And this is a corruption in the Timothy text that is an anti-adoptionistic corruption. So it's intending to ensure that the correct orthodox view is found in the tradition, in the textual tradition. So there are 6 chapters to this book. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. He has a whole chapter devoted to anti-adoptionistic corruptions of Scripture. This is where later scribes have done their best to change the text to make sure that any reference to Jesus becoming the Son of God, say at his baptism or at his resurrection, or at any other time, at his birth or conception, as we see in Matthew and Luke, is changed in the manuscripts to remove that problem. You have Antidocetic corruptions of Scripture. So where there appear to be where there appear to be statements where Jesus is God and not human. Docetic means to appear. That's the joke. Then there are Antidocetic corruptions to make sure that any dodgy passage brings it more into line with orthodoxy. There are anti-patripassionist corruptions of Scripture and anti-separationist corruptions. These are all kind of heresies that one side or another wanted to either promote or to rid the Bible of. So this is a superb text. It has on the back totally glowing reviews from the academic journals, an excellent work of scholarship, a detailed and carefully documented study. These are from, if you know the journals and the academics, you can see that. So I just wanted to share with you that over the generations and the centuries, there was a huge amount of corruption of the text, and scholars today can detect a lot of it and have attempted to amend that. So good modern translations of the Bible, for example, the NRSV, in this passage have translate that verse, without any doubt the mystery of our religion is great. He was revealed in the flesh, vindicated in spirit, seen by angels. It does not say God, because the compilers of this translation are academic and they're objective, and they want to get at the original meaning as far as they can. However, the New King James Version and a few other fundamentalist translations still hang on to the corrupted meaning, because it promotes and services their fundamentalist Christianity. And a lot of people don't realize that these are corrupted texts that the missionaries are trying to promote, particularly to Muslims, and I see it all the time. And it's pointless. I've tried this. It's pointless trying to challenge this and say, look, do you realize the original the earliest manuscripts, the best manuscripts, don't have this. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with fanatics who value their religion more than they do the truth and the facts of the case. So that's it, really. Just wanted to share, as I will from time to time. I will share books that I think are worth you having a look at. There are plenty more where this comes from. Till next time.